All right, guys, welcome back to the second part of our afternoon session here. We are in the ALC Schools presentation, and we are going to introduce them in just a second. Let's get some housekeeping stuff out of the way first. TA would like to give special thanks to our 2020 conference sponsors, ADEQ, Auto Safety House, Braun Ability, Canyon State Bus Sales, Cummins Engines, REI, RWC Group, and the Trust. Their support for this year's virtual platform has allowed us to stand by our commitment to present student transportation information and relevant content to all its members. We are very grateful to them this year for helping us put on the virtual conference. It is a labor of love from your board for TAA, kind of threw together in about a month's time, and I honestly think this is a huge success. We're very excited that you're all enjoying it too. Getting great responses. Don't forget about the chat box on the on your screen there. Go and throw your questions in. We will go through those and make sure we get those answered. If we can't answer something, our speakers today, we will make sure they get your information so they can reach out to you directly. And with that, I am excited to bring in Brandon Kinser and Derek Pond from ALC. And guys, it is all yours to take over.
Thank you, Tommy. So thank you for coming into the meeting today. Derek, give me a thumbs up if you can hear me.
Gotcha.
Awesome, awesome. Again, thank you for coming into the meeting today. I'll go through a presentation of ALC Schools, what we're about and what we do. As Tommy had mentioned, this chat box is available, so if you have any questions come up during the presentation or anything you'd like to discuss toward the end, we're happy to do a somewhat of a Q&A, so feel free to submit those questions. And forgive me for any technical difficulties. I'm a rookie at this a little bit, so I'll go ahead and share my screen and make sure it's working.
That's right, Brandon. We have our oops, you made a mistake card if there's any anything, but it says, oops, you made a mistake, you're still beautiful to me. So that's our theme for the week. It's okay.
I'm gonna need that one, Tommy, if you'd send it over, that'd be great. All right, here we go. All right, Derek, give me a thumbs up if you can see that. Wonderful, wonderful. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to introduce myself and a couple of my colleagues on this call with ALC Schools as well. My name is Brandon Kinser. I'm the Business Development Representative here at ALC Schools. And I cover the Mountain West area of the United States. I was first hired by ALC Schools back in 2015. I worked in field ops for a bit in Texas and Florida, and I've also worked on the business development side of things in most of the Western United States. I also have on the call with me my boss, our Director of Business Development, Josie Wilkes. Many of you know her and are familiar with her. She's well known in the area and has worked extensively in the state of Arizona. Derek Pond is also on this call. He's the area manager for field operations for the state of Arizona, Utah, and Southern California. Wanted to thank the TAA for putting this together. I know it's tough times out there, and we're grateful to have the technology to put this conference together. Just want to let you know there will be some trivia questions throughout the presentation, and submit your answers through the chat feature, and there will be some gift card winners for those select few that are first correct answer. All right. A little bit about ALC Schools and who we are. ALC Schools is a full-service alternative transportation provider with over 20 years experience in the pupil transportation industry. We focus on fulfilling districts' special transportation needs and helping with their hard-to-serve trips. A mission statement for our company is our mission is to give students with special transportation needs an equal opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed. I want to start off with a poll question. Now, the poll feature is not available to me right now, so go ahead and submit your answer through the chat feature, but I wanted to understand the landscape of some of the challenges you guys are dealing with right now. And so the question I have is, what's the biggest challenge you face for the upcoming school year? And I listed a few answers, but of course in the chat feature, you can put whatever, if there's another answer, feel free to put whatever you'd like. But some of the common ones I'm assuming are gonna come up is obviously the COVID-19 social distancing, tiered or irregular scheduling for the upcoming school year, driver, bus shortages, SPED, McKinney-Vento, out-of-district students, or any others that are present in your district and upcoming for the school year. Staying on the topic of industry challenges, what is alternative transportation and why is it necessary? So I put together a list, and albeit it's far from complete, but I wanted to put together a list of industry challenges that most, or if not all, of you are aware. Driver shortages, very common. McKinney-Vento or transient students. ESSA foster care students. SPED students that have IEPs with special requirements. An example would be, solo rider or riding with an aide. Out of district, remote areas. Depending on location of the school district, could be an influx in student population or potentially a large decrease in your student population. A common one in the Phoenix area that we are well versed in is coordinating with surrounding districts, especially when students are moving out of district and getting transported back to the original one. Bell times that aren't friendly to transportation. I'll say this with a lot of confidence. Every district has special parents that require certain demands for their child's transportation. I know that can be straining on the transportation department. Magnet schools or special programs. And something becoming more common is a school of choice program. And then as well as private and non-public schools. And then to list some that we aren't very accustomed to, these are new, is COVID-19 social distancing requirements. And that includes, how many students you can put on a bus, how many students can be at a bus stop, and a myriad of other issues that may arise with that. And then irregular schedules. I've talked to a lot of districts throughout the country, and there are a lot of options being discussed, whether it's, coming in half day, cleaning, having the other half of the students come in, doing an A-B schedule, where half the students come on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, other half Tuesday, Thursday, and flip the next week. I know there's a lot of unknowns, and so these are a list of a lot of the common transportation problems that you guys are going to deal with this year and for years to come. And this is why the question is, does one size fit all? This is where ALC Schools comes in to help and assist in the districts. As it stands, we currently work with over 400 school districts in 21 states across the country. As you can see, here's a layout of ALC's footprint throughout the country. The industry challenges that are currently in Arizona that you face are not unique. These same challenges that we listed are felt throughout the country, and districts throughout the country are constantly turning to ALC Schools to assist them. To be a little more specific, here's a layout of the school districts in Arizona that we're currently contracted with. A little bit of history. We came into Arizona about 8 years ago. and started small with a few districts, 1 or 2 districts. And as the years have gone and as the industry challenges have increased, and ALC Schools has grown significantly in the state of Arizona and will continue to grow as districts experience our excellent service and our excellent product that we offer to school districts. There are a few ways that school districts come aboard, and I wanted to discuss this early because I feel like this is an important topic. So we are proud to be associated with a few cooperatives in the area where districts can piggyback off. You're probably familiar with a couple of these. The nationwide Omnia Partners is a nationwide, formerly national IPA, offers districts anywhere in the country to piggyback off of their contract. We're proud to be the only alternative transportation company that was awarded. And then we also have locally the GPPCS, which is a very common co-op that's used in the Phoenix area and other surrounding areas. And then also the SAVE co-op that is common throughout the state of Arizona. And an advantage to these cooperatives is the savings of time, money, and resources, and piggybacking off an existing contract rather than using the time, money, and resources to go out to bid. So here's a layout of who we serve throughout the country and specifically in the state of Arizona. And we talked about a few of these. McKinney-Vento is common. Every district that I've spoken to for the last 5 years, very few of them is this number decreasing. More often than not, the number of McKinney-Vento students in a given district are increasing year over year. ESSA and foster care also are a common challenge in transporting students with special needs, IEPs that are requiring solo riders, aids, specific requirements, and equipment. Hard to serve trips, magnet schools, special programs, any bell times or midday trips, out of district schools, and multi-district coordination. In short, what ALC Schools does is we plug the holes or the gaps within an existing district's transportation process. And so we generally are serving the one-off students that you're finding it difficult to fit into an existing route. How we do it? We utilize a network of local service providers. So these are drivers by profession with commercially insured vehicles to service your needs. This fleet can be a combination of SUVs, minivans, sedans, wheelchair accessible vans. We customize it to the needs of the district. And why this is effective is its efficiency with smaller vehicles. We look at bus routes with 8 or fewer students, and oftentimes a school district is paying for unused capacity. And so when we look at those smaller routes, we can optimize them not only for cost savings, but also for shorter ride times for your students within the district. And because we work with a network of local service providers, we're flexible. So if a district's needs increase, we're able to accommodate. If they decrease, we're able to accommodate as well. We're a fully customizable solution to each district. But I think this is important. Not just anyone will do. So we don't want to take a random driver on the road with a vehicle and an app and get them transporting students. It's key here that drivers are qualified, fully trained and capable, consistent, same driver every day, and personalized service is customized to the district, to the family, and to the student. There are requirements that drivers go through to transport students. One that we do is nationally recognized and throughout the country is a PASS basic training. And this focuses on passenger service and safety, student interaction, mobility equipment training that includes wheelchairs, illness or medically fragile, lifts and securements, and proper protocols for incidents, accidents, emergencies, and evacuations. We feel this is a key aspect of our service is that we're getting the same driver every day for these students. More often than not, the students that we transport are the most vulnerable. They are the highest risk students within your district. And that could be medically fragile, that could include behavioral concerns in your SPED department, that could include transient or McKinney-Vento students that have their home changed often, a number of times throughout the school year. Again, these are your most vulnerable students, and so what we want to focus here on is giving them consistency that they may not otherwise have in their home life, or that they may require based on their conditions. And what we've seen is that students can thrive on consistency, and we feel that's just as important when it comes to transporting your students to school. Another key topic to discuss is COVID-19. It's if you haven't heard of this, you're living under a rock. This is prevalent throughout the country, and numbers are increasing in Arizona, as we've seen. And so it's important that we discuss what ALC standards are when it comes to COVID-19. Now, these standards are largely reliant on the district because we have a customizable solution for your district. We will reach out to the districts to figure out what requirements you have. Some of the basic requirements is no touch loading and unloading. All drivers are wearing masks, fully sanitizing vehicles after each trip, 6 student transportation protocol. Obviously, we're encouraging families, children who are experiencing illness, sickness, symptoms to please stay home. And if a driver is confirmed to have COVID-19, it is mandatory that service providers immediately report to ALC, and we will send a substitute driver to that student. All right, so the next slide is a trivia question. So get your fingers ready, submit your answer through the chat, and we'll go ahead and select the first correct answer. Here we go. How many cooperatives are available to piggyback off to utilize ALC school service? And Tommy's shaking, going crazy, thinking he's got the right answer. I'll have to see that to believe it.
I think I saw Ernie. I think Ernie was the first one with the answer.
Ernie got it? All right, Ernie, we'll be in contact. Congratulations. And yes, you are correct. The correct answer is 3. So there's a nationwide contract, Omnia Partners, and there are 2 specific to Arizona that include SAVE and the GPPCS. All right. Focusing on the one, this is a phrase that we've tried to ingrain deep into the fiber of our business and what we do. Each student is someone's everything, right? A parent's everything. And so we want to make sure that we treat them as such. And unfortunately, I have a voicemail. Derek, thumbs up if you can hear that.
Oh, it went away, Brandon. I can't hear it anymore.
Say that again, Derek.
The voice, it went away. I wasn't able to hear it.
Were you hearing it initially?
I thought so.
We'll try it one more time, and if it doesn't work, that's okay. I'll explain the situation.
Nope. Not working.
Darn it. Okay. Anyway, I'll briefly summarize. It was a voicemail left on our department line from a parent of a SPED child in Colorado, in Denver, Colorado area. And she was in tears calling to thank whoever was in charge of the transportation of that student. This student and driver had been matched up for a while, and he was a bit of a runner. And he was having a rough day, and when the driver showed up in the morning, the kid took off down the street, and the driver was able to go down the street and talk to the child and comfort him and bring him into the vehicle. And the mother was in tears, expressing her gratitude because of the struggles that she and teachers and school officials have had with this particular SPED student, and how grateful she was that we took the time to ensure their child was safe and could ultimately get to school. And these and other types of similar acts are common among our company because our business model is customizable and it's personal. All right, so managing every trip, real-time GPS vehicle and student tracking technology. So all of the technology that we use as a company is proprietary. A combination of that technology along with highly trained and skilled personnel is what sets ALC Schools apart from other alternative transportation companies. And so, as I had introduced, Derek Pond is the area manager over the Arizona region. And so we have boots on the ground, field ops personnel that are there going to pickups and drop-offs, making sure schools and districts are satisfied with the service they're receiving from ALC Schools. On top of that, we have a routing and optimization team that handles any student requests, any new student requests, and also looks at ways to save the district money. Can we combine a couple students? Can we make the route more efficient? We have a student monitoring and tracking team. Essentially, they are air traffic control. They're able to see all routes going on and field any concerns or calls from parents, from school officials, and assist in getting the students that we transport safely to and from school. And there's a picture of the mobile app that we have that our drivers utilize, and I'll go through that a little bit. So this shows screenshot examples of what our app looks like. The details of each trip and the student are indicated to provide a smoother process for pickup and drop off. And so you'll see there are logo or symbols that indicate wheelchair. It'll list aids, it'll list the monitors that are required, any safety harness or car seat that is mandatory for the student to ride. Here are some screenshots of the pickup and no-show options. So all of our, as mentioned, all of our technology is GPS time-stamped. And so when this driver pulls up to the home, there's a small window of time that will wait, similar to a bus. And the driver can't select a no-show until they've waited the proper amount of time. This ensures that your student has every opportunity to get to school. At the end of the day, that's our priority. Get your student to school safely. And so we have that feature in there to ensure your students, we can get as many of your students to school every single day. Linked to the application that we just reviewed is a portal that you, the district, have access to. This gives you a real-time view of all trips being run in your district. And so you'll see in the example, this is Denver, and you'll see a little blue dot that indicates a route. That is the current location, and that dot will scoot along the interstate or wherever they're going as the application updates. And this is available to all of our customers that utilize our services. If you click on that little dot, it'll pull up some more information on the particular route. So if you have a question, you can look up the driver name, the vehicle, the color of the vehicle, license plate, and current ETA based on traffic standard or current traffic patterns. This portal also gives you access to look at past and future trips and modify them as necessary. And this portal, we can give access to whoever you'd like within your district, and there can be permissions set. So if there's certain people you want to be able to view but not edit any options, we can do that for you. Again, this highlights that our services and our technology is fully customizable to the needs of the district. Reporting here at ALC Schools is an important part of our service. We have because of our technology and the complexity that's involved in, we have a lot of data that we collect on a daily basis. And some of that data we feel is important to give to you, the customer. A key report that's given daily, twice daily actually, is what's called the daily no-show report. And you'll see here is if there is a student that is marked a no-show on any given route, at about 10 a.m., you're going to get a report of every single no-show from your morning trips. And the same thing is sent out in the afternoon for any PM trips. And what this does is this allows you this allows you transparency into the operation. We want you to know which students are attending, which students aren't. If there's repeat offenders, right? If there's a kid, you look down at the bottom and this kid's missed school for 5 days, this gives you the information necessary to make a decision on should we stop transportation until you can get in contact with the family. So this allows you to see into our operation and give you necessary information. A big part of focusing on the one, we talk about focusing on the one within ALC Schools. That also includes parent outreach. And so, Derek, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, as Brandon mentioned, my group, we're field operations. We're the boots on the ground, and I've got an office full of team members ready to be out and about, meeting with parents, meeting with teachers, meeting with you all, so that we can make sure to take as much off of your plate as possible. What we found is utilizing a lot of these tools that Brandon's got here on his slide helps avoid a lot of confusion and issues that just come about when it comes to student transportation. So our job in field operations is not only to make sure your kiddos have the right type of vehicle, the right type of transportation, and all of that type of stuff, but we also reach out to all the parents before transportation starts. One of the things that we offer that I think really sets us apart is the ability to have meet and greets with parents before transportation starts. There's been a lot of you that I know really well at this point, but you may know that we will go out and meet with the parent, with the driver, and kind of do just a little quick hello and introduction, so that the students feel comfortable with the drivers, the parents feel comfortable with the drivers, and with the setup that we have as far as our dispatch goes, and getting in touch with us. We've also got a multitude of booklets and pamphlets and stuff that we make sure parents have access to as well. Another really nice thing that we've started to do a lot more in the Phoenix area in particular is parent introduction letters. We're able to take, similar to the one you see there on the bottom right of your screen, we've got letters that we'll obviously coordinate with the district and make sure it has the right letterhead and whatnot on it. But we get that out to the parents so that they have the breakdown of dispatch numbers and where to go to when they have questions or problems, and more informational things about ALC and what we do, just to try and make it as comfortable as possible. Because as Brandon mentioned earlier, there's a lot of these students that we all know are going through a lot, and the last thing that we really want them to be worrying about is their transportation and getting to school. So we really try and take that here in field operations. We really try and take that and pull a lot of this stuff off of your plate at the district. So it's a one-stop shop for you, and that if you do send a student request over to us, that we're going to handle it from beginning to end. And so, oh, awesome. It looks like Armando's here. I just, for me in particular, the parent meet and greets is one of the favorite things, is one of my favorite things that we're able to do, just because it's helped out in so many of these different situations.
Thanks, Derek. As mentioned, Derek does a great job on the field operations side of things. I'm sure many of you have worked with him and continue to work with him. His team does a great job. All right.
I believe the next slide is for me as well, Brandon. So, oh,
One in between. So alternative student transportation is still student transportation. Ask the right questions, do your due diligence, protect yourself and the district. Most importantly, protect the students. And we feel this is important. You as a district require your drivers, bus drivers or white fleet drivers, whatever the case is, to meet an acceptable set of standards to transport students. And as an alternative provider, the expectation shouldn't be any less. And so we highlight this as a key thought or a key phrase to focus on when deciding if you're going to utilize alternative transportation. How should you do your research? And so we want to keep that in the back of people's minds. Alternative student transportation is still student transportation. And Derek, go ahead and go with the driver vetting.
sure. So we deal with all of the vehicles, the driver vetting, making sure they're trained up and have all of the necessary requirements for the state of Arizona. A lot of what they go through, to be honest with you, is very extensive. It's very costly to make sure that these drivers are up to date with all these requirements, because we really only expect the best, and we really only want to work with the best, because we've learned in all of our years in dealing with this in this industry, the better quality we can put out there, not only does it help you all, but it helps us as well. So you see some of the requirements there, and a lot of these are actually per contract and included in those co-ops that we have with a lot of you here. But obviously vehicle requirements, those are very basic. We do have all the vehicles inspected by the Department of Public Safety, as well as the other driver requirements. We do our own inspections, our insurance, all that type of stuff. The driver requirements really get into CPR, first aid, DMV, checks on a daily basis, drug and alcohol consortiums, criminal background checking, and then as well, obviously, the Arizona fingerprint background check. All the drivers are up to the IVP standard with the fingerprint cards as well. Obviously, I know all of you have gone through that process, and it's not necessarily an easy one to get through, but that's obviously the baseline standard for that. So as I mentioned, our goal in field operations for ALC is to make sure that every driver is always meeting these standards. And what we're able to do is track that on a daily basis. And if, say, for instance, someone's driver's license was expired, or one of these certificates was expired, it will actually be impossible for that driver to service a trip, because we want to make sure we're always keeping up on those things, and we don't run the risk of having something expire. So it's, we have a whole a group, a department within ALC dedicated to just ensuring that these documents are always up to date, that we have all these requirements and we're meeting them on a daily basis.
Wonderful. Thank you, Derek. And so a thought comes when looking at alternative transportation as an option. What specific requirements do you want in place as a district? So think about those things. What are your specific requirements? What regulations do you have for your own drivers? And this is what I talked about. Drivers for alternative transportation should be held to the same standards no matter the vehicle. They are still transporting the same precious cargo. And we firmly believe that, which is why our vetting process that Erica just described is as detailed as it is. In closing, we want to talk about best practices for alternative transportation providers. And so when scouting out alternative transportation providers, these are some key focuses that we want to key on. What experience with each student type, understanding of specific needs, meets and knows all state requirements, commercially insured drivers, high limit insurance program, service provider employee drivers, driver vetting, same driver every day, dedicated internal dispatch and ops team, company history and experience, drug and alcohol testing or a consortium, background checks, fingerprinting, GPS tracking technology, daily, weekly, monthly, and I would even include annual reporting, budgetary tracking tools, parent-student driver introductions. Don't just take their word for it, check their references. And we'll close with, as many of you know, we're very prevalent in Arizona as discussed, and I'm happy to sit down with each of you as you desire to go over. We can run some free cost analysis. I know this coming fall, the landscape is still a little unknown, but I wanted to, I'll send over my information for everyone and love to sit down and talk with you and run a free cost analysis for your district and how we can assist and be an efficiency solution for resources, time, or money. All right. Josie, Derek, did we answer all the questions in the chat?
Yes, I believe you guys did. Ernie says he apologized. He had to leave for an earlier meeting, but be nice to Cindy and Lori. Is there a web interface for districts to use to schedule, cancel, or track rides? Derek said, and that was came in a little early before you showed the slide. Nancy Geezy says it's neat and super informative for the school and parents. Can districts use the web portal to add new riders, cancel rides, edit the trips, etc., or is it just to view trips? Josie answered back and said, for now, it's just to view trips, but soon you will be able to add trips. We're also working on a parent app, which will be out this fall. So stay tuned. And that answered Avery Sponsler's question on, is there a parent side of the web portal or maybe an app parents can download to track? So yeah, I think all of our questions were answered, and we learned who Leo the cat was. So
The important things.
that's right. That's right. So, well, gentlemen and Josie, thank you very much for joining us today for this. Very informative. I love having you on. Again, this will be uploaded to the TAA website as well as the TAA YouTube page, so it can be seen over and over for those that missed it, maybe in another class, or if anyone that wanted to hear some more information. If you need Brandon, Derek, or Josie's information, go ahead and send an email to TAA or to the TAA Treasury at Gmail, and we will get that forwarded over to you as well. And Brandon, Josie, and Derek, you guys will be getting a copy of all the attendees from our conferences last 2 days as well for you. Any other questions before we head on out of here? We got one more round coming up after this, and then our closing ceremony for the day. Nothing? Easy group, like moderating this way. Thank you again, guys. Appreciate you joining us for the 2020 conference. I will see everyone again real soon.
Bye, guys.
See you later.